it was like, it's a battle for your health. It really is. You have to do your own research. You have to think, you have to question, you have to read everything on the packages.
Jane, how did you find carnivore?
Well, Dave, thank you for having me on, first of all. And I've been watching your program for quite some time. Actually, it's been about a year since I actually discovered carnivore. I didn't even know what carnivore was. And it was about October 2023. And I'll give you the short version first, and then I'll go back. A friend of mine posted on her Telegram channel, and she put up an interview, and it was Dr. Berry and Kelly Hogan. And I think Kelly Hogan had at that point been a carnivore for 13 years or something like that. And I saw my friend's post, and I'm like, what is she doing now? And I always follow things that she finds or talks about just because I know she researches stuff pretty well. So I listened to that interview with Kelly and Dr. Berry, and I was just fascinated. And I thought, man, this might be something that I'm really interested in. I'm 70 years old. I don't take any medication. I had a lot of physical issues, and compared to a lot of people, they might be considered nothing, but just I'll get into that part later. But anyway, I watched that interview with Kelly and Dr. Berry, and then she kept posting other things and other people, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. Maybe I could do this. And I didn't say anything to anybody. I just kind of dug into it myself. And then I found other people that had channels like Carrie Mann and Homestead How, and of course, Kelly Hogan. I listened to a lot of what she had to say, and I was just really intrigued with the way she looked compared to the way she used to look. And her eyes were bright, and her skin was beautiful. And I know she talked about a lot of her weight loss, and I thought, well, I don't think I really need to lose weight, but I don't want to grow old and be hunched over and can't move. I just see people even younger than me that are in such bad shape, and I thought, there's got to be a better way. And I was relating some of it to food, but not all of it. So anyway, from there, I just took a deep dive, and it took me about 6 or 7 months to really get going on the carnivore diet. And the reason being is my husband really wasn't interested in it. And I thought, well, how am I going to do this? I couldn't really wrap my head around it, how I was going to do it and still cook for him. And he had come out of a year of being really ill. So I thought, I talked to him a little bit about it, and he's like, well, I'm not interested in that. And I was like, okay. Anyway, I called it, piddled around with it for a while. It was probably some sort of keto. And I don't go to the doctor. I can't even tell you the last time I went to a doctor. So I just sort of, over the years, tried to figure out things for myself. And I was constantly looking for supplements that might fix this or might fix that or whatever. And so anyway, I piddled around for about 6 or 7 months. And then May 1st of this year, I was 69 at the time, and I woke up and I said, okay, May 1st is it. This is when I'm starting. So I've been doing it now for 182 days, about 6 months. And I feel phenomenal. And I'll get into some of the things that have changed. But just to give you a little background of how I grew up, because I grew up in Africa, and my mother cooked everything. We did not have, there was no such thing as fast food back then and there. We ate meals, eggs and bacon for breakfast. We did have cereal or, some kind of cream of wheat or something like that for breakfast. But every weekend was a roast of some kind, whether it was mutton or beef or a chicken or whatever. And so, diet was not a thing. It was just, they had a garden. We had our own chickens. My dad worked in the agriculture business, so he was always we had butchers. We lived in a really small village, actually. So we had a local butcher. And, nobody went to the doctor unless you really needed to. And our doctor would come to the house. I got malaria as a child, and I remember the doctor come running in the front door, and then they put me in the hospital or whatever. But today it's like people go to the doctor, it seems like, for every 5 minutes for a sniffle or, it's just crazy. So anyway, went through school, was very athletic, played field hockey for Rhodesia at the time. Well, I played for the province that we lived in, but I was picked to play for Rhodesia for the Olympics in 1972, but we ended up not going ultimately. They had a bunch of problems over there, and I think it was in Germany at the time. But anyway, we didn't go. And then I left home and went to England for a year and lived there. Still wasn't worried about diet at the time. I didn't have any weight issues. From England, I came to the United States and moved directly to Colorado and up into the mountains, up by a ski resort. And it was just phenomenal. I mean, never worried about diet there. And, everything was done to the maximum there. You played hard, you exercised hard, and you partied hard. So, I lived there for 34 years and learned to ski there. And considering how children these days learn to ski at a very young age, I learned to ski when I was 18 or 19, I think. And blew not too far into it, a couple of years into it, I blew both knees out. And from then on, I had some skiing accidents, had a total of 5 knee surgeries. I had one on my left knee, and the rest were on my right knee. And, everybody, and then I had horses out there and had a couple of accidents with my horses, and one being my neck and my low back. And the low back one was lifting a bale of hay the wrong way. So I ultimately, with the back, I tried chiropractic, tried for about a year, not going the surgical way, but ultimately I had to. It was either have surgery or lay in bed for 3 months flat on my back, and maybe it would heal itself. Well, I couldn't do that. I had a job, had family, and so I did have the surgery, and the guy did a phenomenal job. And I had a herniated disc that went both ways, not one or the other. And he did a phenomenal job. But once you've had surgery somewhere, there's always that nagging, leftover issue that carries with you for the rest of your life. And I've had some back issues since then, pulled muscles in that area, tweaked it, done all kinds of stuff. Nothing that I couldn't handle, but the back issues, I did have to find a new career. I was working at a barn, an equestrian barn for quite some time, and that's when I hurt my back. And I thought, what the heck am I going to do now? Anyway, I ultimately went back to school, and a friend of mine, the lady that actually did my hair, this was back in the late 80s, she said, if you go to beauty school, as we call it here, she said, I'll hire you. I'll give you a job. And I said, you're kidding. I don't even know if I can do hair. Anyway, I did. I went to the college for about a year, graduated. She hired me, and I've been a hairstylist for 40 plus years. So all those years of standing on my feet and using my hands, my arms, tilting my neck, which it just took a toll on my body over the years. So I was constantly looking again for supplements, for something to help my body. And the neck was a major issue. And I found a chiropractor in Colorado, and she literally saved my life. We would trade out. I would go to her for chiropractic. She had a massage therapist there, and actually it was the massage therapist. She and I would trade out. And she kept me going for years that way. And then we moved here, and I thought, oh my word, what am I going to do? I got all these issues. Well, I did find I took me a few chiropractors here. I'm really picky about who I go to. Found a massage therapist, and my first job actually was not going back to do hair. I really couldn't find the kind of place that I wanted to work in. I had worked in a phenomenal place, a little salon and near a ski resort in Colorado, and it was mostly local people, not a lot of tourists. And we were like family there. So I really was sort of missing that, and it took me a long time to find a salon to work in. But in the meantime, I worked, I needed to exercise. We had moved from Colorado. We had to stay in like a extended stay motel till the house we were moving into was ready. And while we were there, I just ate pizza, sandwiches, you name it, just all the bad stuff. And I gained weight, and I'm only 5'3". And if I get up I'm at 140 right now, which since I've been on this way of eating, I haven't lost any weight, which is amazing to me. And it's just my body telling me this is okay. This is where you need to be. But I've lost inches. I could feel it in my clothes, but I haven't lost anything on the scale. I kind of vary a couple of pounds. I was afraid of looking really gaunt and too bony. But thank goodness that hasn't happened. I was teaching Pilates initially, and rather than doing hair. We had moved into our house, and I had got a job with a lady that was teaching Pilates, and she said, we train people here. And so I worked there for a couple of years, got the training, and I was wearing stretchy clothes every day. Well, I'd go to put a pair of jeans on, and I was like, wow, these are really tight. So I'd go back to my stretchy jeans. And being only 5'3", when I get up to about 160, 165, my body feels it. My hips, my low back, my knees, my feet. I mean, I was just in agony. So I would find something to lose weight and cut out bread. I love bread. Cut out carbs for a while. Then I would go do crazy things. I think I joined this company. I can't remember the name of it. Optavia or something like that. And I mean, when I think back on that, yes, I lost the weight. I lost 25 pounds actually. But the food you eat like 6 times a day was not fresh. It was bars and you make a soup, but I looked at the ingredients and it was like not the not the healthiest ingredients. Anyway, I was happy. I lost the weight and I thought, okay, I've got to keep it off. And then you'd have one big meal a day, one big salad a day. So I was eating a ton of salads, cramming my body full of oxalates. And I found my left big toe joint was so inflamed. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not eating red meat. I was eating a ton of chicken. And my left toe joint was so inflamed, so red, I could barely wear shoes. I thought I had gout. Well, it's not from eating rich food, because I really wasn't. But once I got onto this way of eating, that completely went away. The joint, the bone itself must have been eaten away because my toe doesn't bend the same way that it used to, but the pain is gone. So my husband and I ate chicken pretty much and pork for almost every meal at night. And it got to the point where the chicken was like, they weren't even leaving they would sell the chicken in the stores without the skin. And not knowing about carnivore and the good fats that's in there, we liked the skin anyway because we would cook it on the grill and it would get nice and crispy and real tasty. And now you can't even find, I mean, it's hard to find chicken unless you buy it from a farmer, a local farmer with the skin on. And we stopped eating chicken. It was getting, the texture was getting weird, and it's like, what are they doing with these chickens? Are they even real? It's kind of rubbery, and then it had no flavor. And I mean, this mass farming thing, I mean, we just didn't know. So, and we were really getting put off by the chicken. Still searching, I found a company. It's considered an activation company, natural products that activate pathways in your body, and specifically the NRF2 pathway and the mitochondria. And somebody shared this with me, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. This is really interesting. I think I might need this. Well, I started taking these products, and yes, they definitely helped. And they're proven. They have peer-reviewed published studies. Took these for 6 years or so, but I still found I was still suffering from pain, still struggling with certain areas of my body. They had other products for the brain, a drink. I mean, these products add up monetarily wise. And here I was again. At one point, we were buying so many supplements that we added it up, and it was a ridiculous amount of money each month that we were spending on supplements. So we whittled all that away. We were taking these activators, but now it's building up again. We're spending a ton of money. They do work. They were great. They are great. But it was like, wow, we shouldn't be doing this. Since when has man been taking all these supplements and activators and everything? They just ate food and they were healthy and they were fine. So I remember reading a book in the 90s. It was called Empty Harvest. I don't know if you've ever read it, but it was a very easy reading book. Half of it was telling you why food had no nutrition in it and what was going on with the food industry. The other half was backing all of that up. So I read that book in the 90s, and it always stuck in my mind because I would go to buy vegetables and I'd think, okay, these are GMO carrots. They look great, but there's nothing in them. And this whole time, we're eating this food, feeling like crap, and taking these supplements, taking activators, and nothing's really getting better. And I'm kind of going, wow, I'm getting on an age. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to not be able to get up out of bed and walk. And God answered that prayer. And that's when I saw my friend, her post on Telegram about between Kelly and Dr. Berry. And that was last year in October. And I started May 1st, and I don't have any joint pain. Occasionally I do eat dairy. I put heavy cream in my coffee, and I do drink coffee in the morning. I like cheese, but I'm not a big cheese eater. I'll go and buy a thing of cheese maybe 1 week, and it'll take me a couple of weeks to get through it, between my husband and I, and then I won't buy it again for a while. So it's mainly eggs, bacon, beef, and butter. And I do save my tallow and use that occasionally to cook my eggs in and stuff. And
And that's 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day?
I'm eating two. Once in a while, I'll get to dinner and I'm just like, I'm just not hungry, so I'll skip it. But most of the time it's two. Like I will eat around 11 o'clock in the morning or so, and I'll usually have some bacon and eggs, or I'll have eggs and leftover steak from the night before, and I'll just cut that up into cubes and heat it up, and then scramble some eggs with it, or depending, if I want fried eggs or whatever. I'll usually have 2 or 3 eggs. And then dinner, I'll have usually a steak. I was buying ribeyes for a while, but they're pretty pricey. We've been finding some good steaks at Costco. I don't know if you have Costco over there, but yeah. I have a local rancher that I buy hamburger from, grass-fed, grass-finished, no antibiotics, all that stuff. And we're sort of toying with the idea of, we don't have a big freezer, so it's not like we can stock a bunch of meat at one time. But we've been looking at freezers and toying with the idea of maybe getting a quarter of or a half a cow. But, my husband's not fully on board, but he's paying attention. I mean, our food system here is, I'm sure you've heard, is terrible. They're putting things in our food I call here, that they don't allow in other countries. And we're praying that this changes soon with Robert Kennedy. But it's really bad. It's really bad. And before all of this came about, and Robert Kennedy got on board, and it was like, it's a battle for your health. It really is. You have to do your own research. You have to think, you have to question, you have to read everything on the packages. I don't buy packaged food, but even if you do buy, even in the vegetable section, I mean, you don't know how long, when I was eating vegetables, you don't know how long those things have been sitting there. That you don't know how long they've been in the truck. They have no nutrition in them. But it's really a battle. It's really a battle.
Right.
And the stores here are just loaded,
Hmm.
loaded with garbage in the middle of the store. Aisles and aisles and aisles, 50, 60 different kinds of cereal, soup, canned goods. It's just unreal. And I love the freedom of going in there and just going to the meat, I don't even buy my eggs there. I buy my eggs either from a farmer, or if she's out, I'll get them at Costco because they do have free-range eggs there. And I get my cream from a place that doesn't have stuff in it. And I get my milk from a raw dairy farmer. Yeah.
It's such a shame that you have to, like, it is such a battle for your health. But one of the nice things is that when you wake up and you realize the problems, then at least, at least you're able to take your health into your hands. It's just be nice to wake more people up, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't really tell anybody for a long time. I meet with a group of ladies once a month. We call ourselves the Truther Ladies. And I told them, and I think they thought I was a bit loony. They didn't say so, but they've just sort of accepted it now. And I go to a Bible study once a week. And I found out the lady who owns the house where we go, she's a carnivore. And there's another lady that goes that's a carnivore there. So I was really excited about that. So I told her that you and I were going to talk today. And she's like, well, you have to send me the link. But it's slowly, there's no reason to go around and really talk about it. If people ask me, I'll tell them. Yeah, I don't have a big sphere of friends, I guess you could say.
It gets a bit tiring as well if you do tell people, and often the reaction is just like, you're crazy, and almost turning their back on you. That gets a bit tiring after a while.
Yeah. And I understand it as when people say, well, I couldn't give up my whatever it is they don't want to give up. That's fine. And I said, I've just said, yeah, I just started just 30 days. And that's all I was going to do. And then I thought, 30 days, I couldn't believe it. How much better I felt, and I had more energy. And, I've never been on medication. Yes, here and there for certain things. But when I look at people, they're on permanent medications, which aren't supposed to be permanent. And I cannot go there. I just do not want to live that kind of life. And I just, if this can help somebody, most of my issues were physical pain. I had blood work done fairly early on when I started Carnivore. And everything was normal. Of course, my cholesterol was high. On the LDL, is it the LDL? Was fairly high, and I just shrugged it off because I had just the night before I had listened to a lady on your show, and I can't remember her name or what she did. I think she was she was older, but she taught exercise classes of some kind. And she said her cholesterol was like up in the 600 or 700s. And her doctor said to her, oh, I'm jealous or I'm envious. So I thought, well, mine's up in the 300s, so that's no big deal. And so I'm not concerned about that at all. I never have been. I thank God for the wisdom and the discernment that he always put on my heart to question everything. And when doctors were trying to get people on cholesterol medicine, I'm like, why? Meat is not bad for you. Fat is not real fat. Butter, lard, tallow is not bad for you. Right. And I used to question when they came out with margarine and all that stuff. I'm like, what is it? What is it? The flies won't land on it. The ants won't eat it. What is it?
And you know it's gotta be pretty bad when the flies won't land on it,
Yeah.
'cause they'll
Uh,
land on basically anything.
yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So
But regarding the cholesterol, you
mhm.
know, it the whole thing about cholesterol has to be low has never made sense to me because it like, you have to buy into the body having a self-destruct button if you put food in there that, supposedly we're not supposed to eat. And it makes no sense. Why would we be the only species to have this self-destruct button? It makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense at all. The one thing that will self-destruct is consuming the sad diet, and it's just somebody put a meme up the other day, and it was so sad, but so true, and it was the Statue of Liberty, just this enormous person standing there with a big gut hanging out, and that's America today. It really is. It's really sad. And I see very, very young people. I'm not good with ages, but they're probably even in their 20s, maybe early 30s, that are just so in such bad shape. And young men, um, I don't, we didn't grow up in that world. Everybody was trim and slim, and it was very rare that you saw a chubby kid. Very rare in elementary school or even high school. Um, so it's really, really bad.
And I
And
think
my heart goes out to them.
the scary thing now is that, when we were at school and there was, like, the one fat kid, like, that kid knew that they stood out like a sore thumb, and that kid wanted nothing more than to lose weight and get healthy,
Yeah.
right? These days, they don't stand out, and there's all this body positivity stuff now, and so it's like they've almost got no incentive to, like, think about, "Well, how can I improve my diet?" or anything, you know?
No. And it's really a lack of they've been educating the children, but the wrong way, or else they just ignore diet altogether. I don't know what the parents of these kids are teaching them or giving them to eat. I mean, I saw when I was a younger hairstylist, not so much in Colorado, but when I came here to the South, kids would come in early to their parents would get their hair done, the mom or whatever. And here's a kid at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, drinking soda, eating chips or eating McDonald's French fries and whatever. And I'm like, seriously, really? You know, it just wasn't right. And then you see little kids at like 5, 6 years old, and they're already getting really chubby, 7 years old. And it's drastic. It's got to change. It has to
Yeah.
change. I love it. I love eating this way. I'm a lazy cook now because I used to struggle coming home from work and going, "Oh, what am I gonna make for dinner? What am I gonna make? What?" And I would just rack my brain, and I would be thinking about it even at work. Not anymore. I'll just take something out of the freezer, and that's what we're having, whether
Right.
it's, hamburger patty or a steak, or occasionally I do get, sausage, um, from our local grocer, but, yeah, it's easy, and, my body kinda tells me what I need, like, I'll buy some, uh, liver, calf liver. It's in the freezer, it's individually packed, and my body will tell me that I need it, and so it's amazing. I just love it. I just love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, that's the cooking part is the best thing about it. you know, because like you say, you don't have to think anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, do I want eggs, meat, or a combination of the two? That's it, you know?
Yeah.
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 So, if one of your friends came to you and said, "Look, I want to give this a try. I've got some joint pain that I want to see if I can address. I'm skeptical, but I'll give it a try for 90 days." What advice would you give them?
I would just say, start slowly. I'd ask them, yeah, just start slowly. Cut out all the sugar first. Sugar is number one. Go. It's got to go. And for me, it was bread. So I would suggest the sugar and the bread. As soon as possible, all the carbs, rice, potatoes, pasta. I say I loved bread. I liked pasta a lot. So the bread was a hard one for me because I still bake it for my husband, but I don't have that. It's funny, Dave. I don't have that urge anymore. I just can bake it and there it is. But yeah, I would just suggest the sugar and then the carbs. And I did, just kind of listen to your body. I did not feel so good the first week. I kind of had a meat aversion, which really I was like, oh my gosh, I've always liked meat. What is this? And I just ate a lot more eggs. I would add some meat here and there, and it just went away after about a week to 10 days. And I just pushed through. And I think listening to other people really helps a lot, because I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody to share it with. Now I do. I have a friend that's a carnivore now here. But yeah, I would just keep listening. And I think once you get interested in this way of eating, you want to keep learning. I want to learn. I want to listen to what Dr. Berry and Nisha have to say. I want to listen to Dr. Chafee, all of those doctors and people like you, and the stories. I think the stories are really, really encouraging. Even people who don't have big issues, I think they're very encouraging, because I didn't think I had big issues until I started eating this way. And then I'm like, wow, I don't have that brain fog. I can actually think now. But I feel great. I have loads of energy. I sleep like there's no tomorrow. And I wake up when I'm done. It's like even if it's at 4:30 in the morning, I will lay there till about 5:30 or 6 till my dog wants to go out. But I sleep really soundly. It's a wonderful way to live. It's like freedom.
Mm. Yeah, really is. So, Jane, do you have a way to reach out to you? Do you have any social media or anything like that?
I do not have a YouTube channel. I have a Facebook, or my email.
No worries. I can link to those below in the show
Okay.
notes. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, Jane. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me, Dave.